Today I hosted Huez Becerra, the owner of Orgullo, Celeste. We had a great conversation around many of my favorite topics, amongst them being gentrification, coffee, meaning of life, purpose, paths, careers, following your passions, doing things for the community, and things along that nature. This episode today was sponsored by this food, 7 Lessons for Burros and Bag Chasers, my book. Sponsored by Beto El Virtuoso. Tap in at El Virtuoso. And finally, Orgullo, Celeste. Smells wonderful. I hope you guys are able to watch the show, enjoy it, and share it with everybody. You're a LA guy, right?
Yeah.
Born and raised
Born
LA.
and raised, Echo Park, before all the hoopla, in '83.
Hey, so when you were coming up, was Highland Park still like hood?
Yeah, I mean, Highland Park was still, dude, if you told somebody, I stay in Echo Park, they'd be like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like, they tell you, it was still a little shifty, man. Like, you'd get your pockets checked for sure, you know what I mean? Still. That, was all that way until the late 90s. Even now, you still see it here and there, even with the hipsters, you still see it on the walls, the writing on the walls. But for the most part, man, up until the late 90s, it was, if you're from around here, it's cool, but if you're not, just be prepared, something might happen, just out of nothing.
Dude, that trips me out, bro, because just this past weekend, my homie and I were in Highland Park.
Mm-hmm.
We did a little pop-up event, and we're selling a book, and it was not hood at all.
Yeah.
What street were we in? We were between 50, 51st.
Mm-hmm.
What's a big street?
Right there, it's just Fig.
Where all the businesses.
Fig runs up and down, and you got York.
Yeah. We were on York in between 50 and 51. Yeah. And it was strange, bro. It was really strange because I've never kicked it in Highland Park.
Yeah.
Like
I have a little bit.
Yeah.
It's still like you.
Yeah.
It's still hood, bro. It's just you gotta go looking for it now.
Well, you could. Yeah. Why would you, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's
like go into like the fucking alleys and some random ass spot, gang banging and shit. That's when you're gonna get into some trouble.
Yeah, man.
But obviously, like, what happened, bro? How does, from your perspective, like, what is gentrification? How does it happen? And how does it happen?
So that's a topic, man. That's funny that you touched on that, man, because all my friends know me as that dude.
I'm so sorry. I forgot to get you one.
It's all good, bro.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go, bro.
Thank you, man. But yeah, all my friends know me as that dude, man. Like, I was really proud of where I was from. It's Angelino Heights, Echo Park. Has little magic. Had a lot of its mom and pop spots, like any other, Latino neighborhood or just any other neighborhood in general that has a little bit of culture in it. You know what I mean? And little by little, you start seeing, some white folks move in, and it was conviviendo. Everyone lived along and got along. And at a certain point, man, it was just a different type of person coming from the outside. An outsider, like in a way, I kind of call them colonizers. You know what I mean? Because it's like a new pilgrimage is what I could best describe what happened there. It was a lot of people from the east, a lot of people from the middle part of the country, just coming in and trying to find a new life. But within that, man, like where they went to live, someone used to live there, and chances are someone got evicted illegally to make room for them, because they could bump up rent. Rent went up, ridiculous amounts. I've had an apartment there, I couldn't afford it anymore. I live in South Central now, with my wife, and she's from South Central. But it's a big switch, man. Like leaving the neighborhood, kind of just being forced out. A lot of people.
So you saw that transition?
Yeah, I saw the whole transition.
What year did that happen?
Man, so I had some neighbors that moved in like, what was it, about 96, 95, and we're good friends, you know, to this day. It's just, like I said, it's a different type of person, but about, I'd say early 2000s, 2002 to about 2005, you start seeing a different type of person move in. You start seeing people having issues with you kicking it, you know, next door at the homie's pad and barbecuing or having some music on, little things like that you've never really encountered before.
Right.
You know? So
the Karens
you start seeing the different, like, all right, these fools ain't cool like that. They've obviously, and you start talking to these people, because I had conversations with a few of them, man, and they've never, most of them have never had constant exposure to anyone of color, any outside culture, and for the most part, I mean, American culture isn't really a culture. You know, it's something else. You know, it's a bunch of stuff. I mean, some people call it culture. I don't really call it culture. You know what I mean?
Well, it's because like you're comparing it to your culture.
Yeah.
Like,
it's something different. It's something there. You know what I mean? But it's not.
It's a type of culture, but it doesn't have its depth.
Yeah, the depth isn't there. The age isn't there.
The taste, the color, right? Like the things that we are accustomed to having with our families and our homies and all these traditions, right? And things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that, man, that happened. Then it just kept progressively getting worse and worse. Then you had that whole gang injunction, the illegal gang injunction happened. That caused a lot of.
Wait, what's that? What's the
so basically
the gang injunction?
From what I got together, it was the homeowner business association of Echo Park got together with this group that supports the police, donates and does all this other stuff, and they didn't like seeing people hanging out at the corner or outside or at spots people were used to hanging out at. You know what I mean? And just so happens, you know, there's some people with a past, you know. But that injunction was basically telling people, if you, don't quote me, but I think it was 3 people, you couldn't gather in more than groups of 2 people at a time outside if you had priors with gangs and that type of life. You get taken to jail, you know, and
like just for chilling?
Yeah, man, and imagine, like, let's say these dudes have a job, or some homie has a job and gets taken to jail for something that's in his past, you know, regardless if it's current or not. Like, I mean, we're not living in that type of society where we should be just persecuting people like that. And it caused a lot of people to have hardship and, again, be having to force to move out. And who took their place was a lighter skinned person, you know. And yeah, like it's crazy. Even with my mom still lives there. She's been there since 72. She used to actually live. There's a block, Carroll Street. There's a bunch of old school Victorian homes. I always film movies up there. They've done Michael Jackson's Thriller video right there. The old show Charm. My mom actually landed in that house. She rented out a room there with her homegirls that she migrated with.
Okay.
So I'm telling you, man, like, it's a lot of history, but I'm very grateful that my mom's still there. But even with her, she's had her problems, man. People, she'll be having her door open or something and have some music playing, and she's had people come and knock and tell her to close the door. So like I said, there's a certain type of person, and fortunately that's who came in Echo Park, you know, for the most part. Not everybody's a bad person, man, but
right. I mean, it would be too much of a generalization, right? To be like, oh, you fuck faces from the Midwest, valen pa pura.
Nah, because there's good people.
There has to be, right? There has to be. So I mean, when we think about that, it's like a solution and a problem, depending on how you look at it or where you're coming from.
Right.
I obviously would look at it as more of a problem, you know, because it's like, obviously, like, that could be my mom, who is being evicted, or my brother, or my sister, etc. And so, like, it's easier for me to empathize with what they're going through. So what is a solution on our side, bro? Like, for example, this area still has not been neo-colonized.
No, it has not.
But you know, I was having a conversation with my cousin a couple weeks back, and he brought out the whole plan. You know, he's like they've been having the eyes set on Southeast LA for a couple years. You know, so they're making a move. You know what I'm saying? They're making a move. In your perspective, like, what can we do now?
So this is a conversation me and my wife have because she's a South Central born and raised girl. She doesn't call it South LA. She calls it South Central. A lot of people that
forever.
Yeah,
Well, nobody really knows it as South LA.
No,
like at least from the area.
It's kind of like a politically correct way of saying it.
South LA.
I guess that's the way it is. That's how she's explaining to me. So I'm like, I mean, I know. It's
but
South
she says South Central.
She says South Central. She doesn't care. She's like, no, I grew up in South Central.
Yeah, no one from the hood doesn't say South LA.
The north part of even South Central, man. Like we're talking like just north of the Bank of California Stadium.
Okay.
You're talking like
the USC barrio.
Right above MLK. You start. It's a lot of different things going on there. A lot of USC buying up a lot of property for student housing. That in itself, man, it causes gentrification. It's a different type. You know what I mean? Now you got a university who's local, but in a way they're actually hurting the community as well. So art galleries popping up in South Central left and right because warehouse space is cheap and then people have money, man. So I told my wife, I was like, these are the first signs right there. And as crazy as the thought it is that South Central is gonna get gentrified, I think in about 10 years the northern part of it is definitely it's gonna have a different face. And with you guys out here in Southeast LA, it's, man, me and my wife are like, man, we should buy a house there next, you know what I mean? Like whenever we could get to that point, get out of South Central. But yeah, man, a lot of development here. A lot of money being invested in this area. Properties are big, so yeah, man, just prepare yourselves. And honestly, to combat it, there's only one way that I've seen two ways. Props to East LA, man. East LA kind of did it differently.
They went balls to the wall.
Yeah, balls to the wall, man. And low-key, I wish I could have united my troops back in the day like they did it. It might not have done anything overall, but it would have slowed it down definitely. And they straight stopped it though. Man, that's one of my respects. But it's capital. Capital is the only way. You gotta fight back investors with your own money. You know what I mean? If you want your neighborhood to stay the way it is, invest in it. Think of a small business idea. There's a lot of ways to do things, man. Clothing, food, and people are hustlers, man. Or people are like those small pop-up business. It's been a lot of them pop up, and a lot of them have gotten big. So it's about investment, man. Like investment in your own community and capital.
Yeah. So I'll get into the investment part, but what was he still doing? That was
man,
like so hardcore.
I heard all kinds of stuff. Like, for sure, what came out was the art galleries that got vandalized. You know what I mean? You had protests outside of those. That was one thing. But the open house thing, man, I can't remember. I don't know if there was a name to the group that I saw, but there was a group of individuals that would go, throw on some bandanas and go into these open houses and tell people, you don't want to live here. Get the fuck out of our neighborhood. Straight up. And it worked enough to where it slowed it down drastically, man. And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's still developments going on, but it didn't get gentrified as fast as like Echo Park and Highland Park, so something must have
something must have happened.
Slowed it down, yeah, man. Like
Yeah, no, and it really goes to show like the warfare of tactics.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you have like an angle or an objective, you always have to either broaden your toolbox or use everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm all for it, man. You know what I'm saying?
Warfare, man. Hey, but
like I'm not saying I'm personally gonna do something, but what I'm saying is that like when I think about when I think about the work of people all over the world and in this country, one person comes to mind, like Malcolm X, very famous lines left and right, and you always have to defend yourself and your people by every means, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, so if you think about it, like, there's people who are powerless and there's people that have a lot of motherfucking power.
Yeah.
And so many fucking examples are coming to mind right now. Currently, everyone's talking about Palestine for good reasons. And you're like, dude, there's two players, right? Yeah. Clearly. One of them has billions and billions and billions of dollars in resources. The other motherfucker has probably millions. Right?
At best, yeah.
It's not the same game. No. Which is why I always tell people like everything that's happening around the world is connected to us. Like the war that we have here, it's the same principle, but just
Like the battle is being carried out on different terms. You know, over there it's bombs. Over here it's a lot of homelessness and people losing their jobs and people not being able to survive. At the end of the day, it's poverty though. You know, and but their poverty and their fight is like next level, man. Like it's very saddening. You know, what I mean, to see that. I don't know, world leaders stand back and don't say nothing because of, you know, business, you know, international business, and I don't know, it's a mess.
Yeah, it truly is insane. So like it's hard not to be empathetic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you take it back a couple hundred years, I mean, the reason why you and I are here right now is because that same shit was going on this side of the hemisphere. And so like it's that history, that understanding that allows you to just say like, you know what, like, hey man, as all human beings around the planet, we really kind of we're not experiencing the same shit, but we're on the same journey.
Yeah. Similar journeys. I mean, everyone's just trying to live.
Yeah.
And there's always gonna be that monkey wrench, you know, and it's a lot of that right now, like you were saying. You know, there's a lot of people trying to conform everybody into this box and keep them there, and while they're outside, you know, of the box, controlling everything as far as, you know, finances and everything that comes with it. World trade, man, is crazy. Like I'm telling you, I didn't realize, I didn't put any thought to it until I started doing this coffee thing. And trade is important, man, especially between countries. You see it, you know, people will go quiet and won't say anything, even though there's an obvious travesty happening right in front of them. You know, and money's, you know, the devil, as they say. You know?
I feel like, I mean, like, clearly that person or organization, corporation, whatever, I would say like they're not human. You know what I mean? Because they've sold.
They've given their humanity.
Their soul to the dollar sign or whatever economic or whatever currency is, you know, top down.
There's people out there that be like, hey man, that's just the way of the world. It's business. Yeah, it's business, but there could be a more humane way to go about this. Because there's obviously enough. There's enough of that money to go around.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But it's just simple greed and old practices, old business practices. You know, that's shrewdness. The shrewdness is just incredible in certain fields, man. Yeah.
I mean, talking about international business, bro. How the fuck did you end up getting a connection in Saudi Arabia to, you know, get your coffee,
Man,
which comes from Guatemala, but you...
Big coincidences, man. And it's one of those things that I was like, man, like I'm on the right track, because good shit kept happening, like within that time frame when that happened, right? Good shit continues to happen, but within that time frame, it was a crazy time because I was starting off. At the time, I had just transitioned from being like a smaller little pop-up coffee dude to importing, you know, pretty big amounts of coffee and then trying to distribute them anywhere I could, including Saudi Arabia if it was possible, right? So the last event I did was in Lincoln Heights, and a friend of mine asked me to do it. She's like, you know, they need a couple more people. You're a coffee guy. It'd be nice to have you out. You can expose your brand. It was, you know, one of those things. I was like, you know what, this is the last time I'm doing this, but hell yeah, I'm down. I graduated from Lincoln High School. Shout out to Lincoln High School Tigers. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And there, passing out coffee to all the other vendors, just trying to, you know, network and all that. And one of those dudes, Shop Cultura. He sells teas, pins that have to do with like Mexican influence, Latino influence. Has his own style, you know, day to day style. It's really cool. He is like, hey man, like this is good coffee. I have a friend who's actually in coffee and he's working with some Saudi dudes. And I was like, no way, man. Like, give him my card and let's see what we could do. Turns out the dude was from LA too.
The Saudi guy?
Yeah, no. He works. It's partially his company, but he met this other Saudi dude in school while they were at Cal State Long Beach, and the other dude was coming over here to get education, and they met, became friends. Years later, they started a coffee company, but this dude's from South Central too.
Sure.
Yeah, so shout out to La Finca Coffee Company and Luis, and we just started talking, man, and then they needed some Guatemalan coffee, and I had it. And yeah, man, we were from what we know, because we were trying to do with customs and all this other stuff, man. Like, we were the first people from LA to send beans like that to Saudi because they had no precedent. They didn't know how to go about things. Like, we were literally working with like the FDA hand in hand, trying to figure this out from both ends. It was a trip.
Yeah.
But, honestly, yeah, man, just a small business connection.
I'm a huge fan of like these crazy coincidences, man, that just pop out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But why is it a coincidence if they make you feel like magic is real?
Yeah, it's for real, man. Like it's one of those things we can't explain. You know, the older I get, I see little things in life, little signs, I guess you could say. And when you're doing good, and you're doing, I guess, what you're supposed to do, you get some gifts, man, along the way. You just gotta keep your eyes open. Like, if I hadn't gotten up to the dude, if I hadn't said yes to that event, first of all, if I hadn't gotten up to everyone and introduced myself, I mean, none of this would have happened, you know. And right now we're working on a deal from Origin. They're shipping directly from Guatemala over there now. So it's a trip. It's a trip because I'm kind of small time in LA, man. Like, you know, I have my shops that I work with, but it's not a huge client list. But it's growing every day. You know, you plant seeds and they sprout, you know, a while later. And internationally, it's a trip. It's a trip to be in both worlds right now. Yeah.
No, that's fantastic, bro. Because when you think about it, and you talk about how when you're doing what you're supposed to do, how would you tell somebody that has no idea? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying give them advice.
No, like, I get you. I understand what you're saying, man. Like, I didn't go looking for coffee, for instance. Like, I didn't go looking for it. I was literally hungover in Guatemala. I had just quit my job, kind of like Scarface and half baked.
How old were you at the time?
Man, I was 28 or 29.
Okay.
And my mom's like, you know what, I'm going to Guatemala. Why don't you come with me? You know, you just quit your job. And at the time I felt lost, man. Like, I didn't know what to do with my life. Bunch of jobs. I'd been a plumber before, all kinds of stuff, right? And I was like, you know what, fine, mental break. Let's go. My uncle's like, I'm gonna come pick you up, take you up here to the farm, because we go visit the capital where my grandma was at. And I was hungover and I almost didn't go, man. He's like, my uncle literally told me, this is gonna be the worst regret of your life if you don't get up right now and go with me. And him not knowing anything,
I wonder why he said that.
I to this day, bro, like, I still trip out.
Yeah.
We went, I'm walking around the property and I'm like, what's this stuff? He's like, that's coffee. I just had never seen coffee grown in the wild. And yeah, man, like, from there I was like, you know what, how much you guys get paid for this? And it was pennies, bro. I was like, no way. I was like, you guys are high as hell, because they're at above 1,640 meters. So we're talking like high elevation coffee. Volcano status, like, you see the volcanoes in the distance.
And you were like saying that the higher it is, the higher quality it is?
Yeah. It's usually, that's the way it works. It's a lot of other factors too. Processing it properly, cutting it properly. There's a lot of factors, right? Yeah. But yeah, we're getting pennies, man, and it was kind of got me angry, or got me very mad. So I was like, let's see what we could do about this. Let me go back to the States, let me go to school and see if I could bring this stuff in. So I went to ELAC, took an international trade and logistics course. Figured out I could. I just needed a couple things from Guatemala's end, and yeah, man, we got those things accomplished, and we got my family's coffee in here, along with a couple other farms from the region of Fraijanes, which is where I work at. Yeah.
Dude, that's, you know, when people talk about, a lot of people tend to talk shit about college or community college and how it's not useful, but I always say, like, bro, like, every piece of knowledge is useful. Yeah. Like, you have to know how to use it, though. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no point in going to school for 10 years if you're not going to utilize that. Well, I think people say, if you don't apply it, it's just information. Yeah. But information turns into knowledge when you can use it and turn it into power.
Yeah, man.
And clearly you guys did that.
I was an old man around a bunch of freshly out of high school kids. There was like one other dude in there that was like older, but everyone else was 19, 20, 18, 21 at tops, you know, and Yeah, man, like I felt weird. Felt weird, and I'd never gone to college before, you know, like I went straight to work. And knowledge is power though, man. It's crazy what you could do with a little information. And like for instance with me, man, like school isn't for everyone, like you're saying. It's not. Some people are just blessed in life and they learn a trade that pays well and they do well in life. You know what I mean? Other people, you know, do need the schooling to learn a trade, to learn how to do something, find your way. You know, and for me, man, like I didn't go there with the purpose of getting a degree. I went there with the purpose of gaining the knowledge needed to accomplish what I needed to accomplish. And a lot of people will knock on that thought, like, oh, you didn't follow through with your education, this, that, and the other. In the situation I was in, I didn't have necessarily the time. I needed to do this now to help my people in Guatemala. But it definitely taught me the knowledge, and I applied it, you know. So it's not for everyone to stay in and graduate, man, but definitely go to school and get yourself educated at some level. It'll give you some insight on something. You know, you might discover that you're good at something, or you really enjoy researching something, and that might be, you know, where your path leads you.
No, but you know what's really important about that story, that piece of your overall story, is that you were a lot more mature with life experience before making the choice to go to school versus pressuring all these fucking 17-year-old little kids to be like, you have to go to college so that you can go in debt and then become an indentured servant for the rest of your fucking life. Yeah. On the other hand, you went, say, 10 years later, but life fucking taught you some lessons, dog. You know, so at that point, you're just like, you know what? I know this is what I'm looking for. Versus being that 17-year-old, 18-year-old fucking, you know, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna just go get a job and shit. So, again, it goes back to that, like, there's no specific way.
No, hell no.
To figure it out.
Hell no, there's no formula. It's, like I told you, keep your eyes open. Keep your thoughts open. Keep your heart open to what you like to do, man. Like a lot of people, it's the stresses of school and life and all that, they kill creativity. You know what I mean? And as much as I'm in business, it's a lot of creativity involved in that too, though. You know, it sucks that people's dreams get flooded, man, like with a bunch of responsibilities that maybe they're not ready for. Maybe they did need to live a little bit and get a job and just figure shit out. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, man, like you said, life experience taught me, like, hey, man, like just do what you need to do. You obviously know how to put the dots together. You have enough common sense to do it, and just kind of did that, man. But people definitely need to just listen a little bit more to themselves and not be scared. That's the biggest thing. Fucking being scared, bro. I've seen a lot of people be scared and not do shit and have great ideas, man. Like artists in music, artists in painting, other people that just had the great idea and never followed through, and now they're still working that shit office job, you know, or that job they're not really happy with, you know. But fear, man, is like the worst enemy. You know, I was scared as fuck. Don't get me wrong. Like taking the leap of faith and investing money in this and going over there and talking to farmers and fucking hiking up fucking mountains and not knowing necessarily if I was gonna be all right, you know, because I didn't have necessarily all my family around. It was me and this dude that I had just met, you know. And nah, man, like no tengan miedo. Like aviéntense and see what the fuck comes out. Worst thing is you fail. So what? You know what I mean? You learn some shit definitely from failing, you know.
Yeah, dude, I was just having this conversation with my little sister yesterday, and you know, she brought up a couple things that I had failed at. Not in a dickish way, but she was like, "Hey, remember this?" And then I was like, "Yeah." And you know what? I learned great lessons. I definitely learned what I was not supposed to be doing in life. And it's just like, yo, I'm a big fan, bro. Experimentation. Like even with little shit like, let's go to a new restaurant. You know, let's go try this. Let's go try that. Oh, that shit fucking sucked. But now I get to leave and say like, you know what? Like I tried this business plan. I tried this book. I tried this song. I tried this drink. And maybe I fell in love with something. And to add on to that, I was reading this post about this 50-year-old that was talking about everything in life, that every hobby, every love, every passion that they picked up and ended up losing along the way, this person said that somehow at that age it all came back to them. So sometimes, like, we're young, you know, like, we really are young. Obviously not like 15-year-olds, you know, like there's a kid probably thinking like, you're fucking old.
Yeah.
But we're not, you know.
Yeah.
And even like larger and thinking larger, like, dude, the fucking planet has been existing for billions of years, you know. Like, I'm fucking just like nothing. Yeah. I'm a baby, really.
Yeah. Respect.
Exactly. So who knows? I don't believe in no losses, bro. No fucking losses. Like, everything for me is just another lesson above a lesson above a lesson above a lesson and another one, and it's really, really like turned me into, you know, this human, you know. And I'm a very, very happy, proud human. Don't get me wrong, I experience dark feelings and thoughts and everything, you know, but I try my best to look at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say today I woke up hella fucking pissed, depressed, anxious. There's gonna be a moment in that morning where I'm like, yo, this shit fucking blows, bro. Why am I fucking cussing at the air right now? And when I become cognizant of that, then I'm just like, oh, you're tripping about nothing.
Yeah, that whole, man, I'm guilty of it too, brother. Like, I dig myself pretty deep sometimes. You know, I'm a very self-critical individual. It favors me in certain ways. You know what I mean? Being in business, like, you have to be self-critical and you have to be very precise in certain things. So it helps, you know. But, you know, too much of that shit will definitely fucking, you dig yourself in this cave, and it's a slippery slope, man, to get the fuck back up, you know. And that's why, the faster, you know, we realize, yo, this shit could be worse. Like, it really does fucking bring the day to another tone, man. Cause I feel you. I'm of the same light, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. You know, being highly critical of oneself is, I think, one of those strategies, tools, or practices that you really do need, especially if you're a sensitive guy. I'm not saying you specifically, or a woman, or whoever the hell you are, because sometimes some people, you can't tell them nothing, and they're like fucking flip, and you're like, damn, son, like, I feel bad for you, because if you can't take game from people, like, you're gonna be fucking stagnant. So I feel like those people in particular, they're the ones that are gonna have to be the most highly critical of themselves, so that they're able to, like, push themselves to the next level and the next level and the next level. But let's be honest, how many times have you looked at yourself and thought there was nothing wrong with you, but you allow somebody else to take a look at you and they fucking pointed out everything, and you're just like,
yeah, man, we all have those fucking moments where we need to be told, you know. Gotta have my wife for that. She's very, you know, she lets me know, man, like, yo, it's not that bad. It's just, you know, telling you, man, like, for me, so I'm a one-man band, basically.
You're a one-man band for your business.
Yeah, like, I do everything. You know, my wife helps me with books, and you know, she'll roll with me sometimes to make a drop off.
Oh, by books you mean booking sessions?
Yeah, no, like my finances and all that, you know. I'm terrible with that, man. Like, I'm terrible at bookkeeping and stuff like that. Yeah, accounting. But yeah, I'm a one-man band, dude. So, like, it's, you know, I learned coffee on the run. And there's a lot to learn. I had, you know, slammed into a few walls, going full speed, you know, along the way. But like I said, like, the self-critical part of me, like, or the part that criticizes me, it's helped me avoid a couple of real bad putazos too, you know what I mean? So, like you said, it's a tool. It's one of those things you have to know how to control. You can't go overboard with it, because if you go overboard with it, it's very counterproductive. You know, you end up losing time, breath, and idea, you know, over just, you know, being too damn negative to oneself, you know.
Yeah. Why did you choose the name? Is it El Orgullo?
Café Orgullo Celeste. So, Man, branding something that was probably the hardest part of anything. Just sitting down and being like, what am I gonna call this company? You know.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm very proud to be half Guatemalan, especially connecting with my family over there. I realize how much like I have in common with them, with the mindset of especially a few individuals, man. Like, it's a shame I didn't connect with them sooner. You know what I mean? But so proud, man. Like, being proud. Celeste, you know, it's the color of the flag. It's baby blue. And you know, the volcanoes it has in it. It has a couple of volcanoes in it, and those represent the volcanoes you can see from Frejanes, which is Pacaya and Agua. The two volcanoes, Volcán de Agua and Volcán Pacaya. And there's another little hill at the bottom, right? And that represents Frejanes, which is like just below the volcanoes, but it's no one really knew it. No one knows of the town. No one knows that they're coffee producers, that they produce some of the best coffee in the country. They're also some of, like I tell you, they people take advantage of them because no one knows them. You know, other regions come in and buy coffee a little bit cheaper from them and use it as filler for theirs or to improve the taste in the cup. But they get left in the dust, you know. So I was like, it's little brother, but I want to represent it just to remember, you know, we're looking up at the big ones, but we're a giant ourselves, you know. We're not on the floor level. Yeah, but that's basically the logo, man. Just deep thought on that, and I was just like, I'm proud. Like, it's baby blue in the flag. Let's put some volcanoes in it. Yeah, man.
No, bro, that's hella fucking hard, and I know that question is a question that every business person is always stumped by. Because they're like, I can't go public without, you know, at least a fucking logo and shit. And well, you can, but you don't really want to, right?
Yeah, it's a huge. You expose yourself, man. You're exposing yourself to criticism, and that's one of those things that keeps people from doing things. Is other people criticizing their idea, you know.
So what's one of the biggest putazos that you've dealt, you know, in the business of coffee, like just general business?
Man, I'll tell you, like
putazo means smack for those of you guys that don't know.
You run into a fucking wall, man. Like so early on, man, when I brought in my first batch of coffee, you know, my partner in Guatemala, like, we were figuring out what the market was here, and his coffee was decent, man, but it wasn't necessarily what a high-end coffee shop would consider specialty. Just under it, point-wise, like, 'cause they scored, and it was just under that, right? But it was straight from a farmer, you know, and unfortunately that coffee, man, I thought it was the world because I tasted it, I saw it get processed. I was like, man, this is the shit. I know where it comes from. But I go to a couple, you know, high-end coffee shops, and yeah, I kind of got looked at crazy because I got asked a few questions that I just didn't know were part of the whole sales pitch, right? This is baby steps, man. Like, I'm in my infancy of this, and I knew a lot up to that point, but I didn't know like those specific
Do you remember
questions. Yeah, I remember what it was. I remember the questions. I remember the coffee shops.
Can you share some of those questions?
Man, it was just like, for instance, it was the humidity on it. My buddy had the humidity numbers, he just never shared them with me, so I had to be on the go. And just out of scrambling, man, like you don't think right, and you
say stupid shit.
You say something, and I was right I had read something about humidity, but I got the number completely wrong. I was like 2-3 percentiles above what I should have said. So I'm pretty sure at that point I got looked at like, oh, this guy's a fucking novice. He's
no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, man. So, you know, and like, again, the self-criticism comes into play, and you're like, fuck, how the fuck did I just fuck that up, you know? Or how didn't I know that? And it's like you're pissed off for a second, but then you're like, well, now we know. This shit won't happen again. Now I have the information like handy to where I won't be unprepared. And I thought I was prepared as fuck, you know? But obviously not. There's levels to that, to the coffee game. And now, like I said, there's no way I'm getting caught with that. That was a couple years back, you know? Like, I've learned so much. It's day and night, you know? And it's all right, man. Like, I had to learn the hard way. I had to feel embarrassed. I had to expose myself, and I came up empty, you know? So in the eyes of some, I'm sure they're like, fuck that guy. Like, he don't know shit, you know. But it's been a journey where I've learned from my mistakes. But again, can't be scared to fucking take the lead, man. Like, I was scared going into those coffee shops because I knew they had prestige, but I was confident in what my mission with the coffee was, and I was, fuck it, let's see what happens. You know?
I feel like coffee's a rough business.
It is,
because like it's one of those things that I mean, how do you? You probably know this question, the answer to this question. How long have humans been drinking coffee?
Fuck, dude. Like it's centuries at least. It might be longer than that, millennia. Originated in like the Yemen area.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the Middle East was the first motherfuckers to drink coffee.
That's what supposedly.
Isn't that like the crescent area that so much life really came from?
Yeah, that whole little section, and then with trade, they started taking that stuff into like Africa, and it has to do a lot, I guess, where the environment it grows, and it took well in you know, like Ethiopia and certain parts of Africa. You have some crazy coffees, you know, but their soil is trippy too, because the varietals are different too, and varietals in this part of the world are different.
You said varietals?
Varietals, yeah, like there's different types of coffees, man. Like
what's a varietal? Is like just a different variety?
Yeah, different variety. Like you would say, like you know how there's a bunch of different types of tomatoes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, type of like that. So you got the Ethiopian breeds out there. They're a bunch of wild breeds, man. Like, it's crazy.
So wild, as in like
there's still breeds of coffee that they still haven't necessarily cataloged on that side.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you ever curious to like go on an adventure to just fuck around and be like?
So yeah, man. Like I you know, that part of the world, unfortunately I don't know nobody. I don't know anybody. And sure, traveling abroad, especially when you're going into the countryside, you better kind of know where you're going, because you're in a different society. You don't know who to trust. All they see is it's a fucking American. You know?
Sure.
So you have to know. And I don't have any contacts in Africa, man, yet. I hope in the future, yes. I do hope to go out there and experience, you know, a beneficio and a finca out there, and see what they do. You know, that's similar or not to what we do. You know. But yeah, there's all kinds of varietals, man. There's Robustas and Arabicas. That's like the basic kind of two. Arabicas are known for their flavor notes. Robustas not so much. The acidity. A lot of people use them for filler, just to improve volume. And yeah, dude, like beyond that, there's all kinds of little breeds. You know, the Brazilians. You know, they've had a couple mutations, like natural occurring mutations happen. They've bred stuff on purpose. Guatemala's doing the same thing. Salvador, all Central America, like, yeah, man, like it's its own thing, and they all have their own different characteristics. They're all vulnerable to different stuff. Some are, you know, fungus and anything like that doesn't hurt them. Others are very vulnerable to like certain funguses and leaf rust, as they call it, la roya, which was like cancer to a coffee plant, and that devastated the coffee world in the 90s, man, and it's still around. Some plants, you know, never fully recovered. Others adapted, and farmers had to adapt their methods too on how to get rid of it and how to survive through that whole, like, I mean, it's kind of like a decade worth of anguish. You know, even now prices are low, but that was really bad when your whole crop just died, you know, and you had no way of making any other type of money.
Yeah. So what's your favorite coffee, and
Man,
why?
So mine, I'm kind of, you know, biased just because my family grows such good stuff, man. Like I
love coffee, motherfucker.
Yeah, like they grow a red catuai, is what they call it, and a bourbon.
It sounds like bourbon.
Yeah, bourbon.
Yeah.
Bourbon, it's it's the same thing. It's spelled the same way.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And yeah, man, I love their coffee. It's not too acidic. It's very chocolatey. You get your citrus notes in it too. It's a balanced cup that like I said, I don't like acidic coffees too much, man. They kind of tend to make my stomach hurt a little bit. I know people could kind of like relate to that. Like, oh man, I got a stomach ache after I drink coffee. It's usually because it's high acidity. Your stomach's like, fuck you, like don't give me that shit. The Central American coffees are known for their like medium range acidity, nothing overly powerful like that. And yeah, man, my family's coffee is right along with that. You know, I love their stuff.
So you would say that one for sure.
Yeah, man. There's other regions too, man. Like I've tasted coffees from Huehuetenango, from Antigua. Antigua has a very similar cup to Frejanes, which is why they usually come in and purchase a lot of smaller producers' coffee lots and kind of add it to theirs because it's very, very similar.
Do you have a message to Starbucks or Starbucks drink? People that like to drink Starbucks?
So, I don't want to fucking straight up say fuck Starbucks, even though fuck Starbucks. But, you supporting them, it kind of makes the job harder on not only people like me, and you don't have to, I'm not asking for sympathy or nothing, but people like me are actually paying the farmers what they deserve, like above market value, above fair trade value, because fair trade value is bullshit. If you see a sticker on something that says fair trade, fair trade is $1.46 and up. Premium fair trade I think is $1.60 something. So it's really still nothing. Most of Starbucks coffee, they don't go for that. They go below that. They're like $1, just above $1. So just remember, you're supporting them. You're supporting basically the farmers over there, still being kept on the floor. Their prices aren't going to go up, so therefore they can't really advance themselves. And there's a lot that goes into this, man. Like there's pickers, there's the growers themselves, people that work at the processing plants. Like all their salary is based on the market, and unfortunately, coffee is judged on the C grade market, which is like the New York Stock Exchange. C grade meaning commodity, which is like average coffees below 1,000 meters per se.
That's why it's a C grade.
Yeah, even like sea level stuff. Like a lot of Brazil stuff is sea level stuff, and although they have some really good ones too, like that makes life harder on producers from Central America and Mexico and South America to bump up the value, the cost, because our coffee is called strictly hard bean, meaning it grows above a certain elevation and the bean is actually harder, grows slower, takes longer to get ripe, and we shouldn't be on the same level as a C grade coffee. There's no reason the stock market shouldn't have its specialty, like a specialty but again, it's people that are controlling the people in the box, right? Like there's bigger heads that will probably never let that change. So it's up to people that want to make a difference, coffee shops included. Like the coffee shops that work with me, they know they work with me, and that their money, a lot, like the farmers are getting paid straight up. And in the case of my family, it's my family's coffee. I'm straight up their representative here. And there's other people that they'd rather just stick with who they're working with. Long-term relationships, established relationships with distributors from the States that, like, again, pay so-called fair trade prices, but like you're a multi-million-dollar corporation, you could fork out a little bit more. And I know this because I'm a one-man band with no bank loans or anything, and I'm doing this by myself. Like I know it's possible, but their overhead is so much, man. Like they charge these ridiculous prices for coffee, but don't pay the fucking farmer correctly. Not all. I'm not gonna talk shit about everyone, but the majority of it is forced you that way.
Yeah. So on one side, fucking Starbucks is literally like. What about, before I shit on them completely? What is the quality of their product?
The rule with coffee, man, is you go darker on the roast. Like if you know what you're doing, right? You go darker on the roast to hide imperfections in the coffee. Imperfections meaning like green tastes, like vegetative tastes. Other things that just you would be like, this shit don't taste good. Burnt coffee just is like dark coffee, right? Like how you incorporate like, that coffee's strong. It's probably because it's fucking dark as shit. It's roasted like really, really dark. And Starbucks tends to go on the darker end of the spectrum when it comes to the roast for that same reason. They try to hide the imperfections. But to the layman, man, don't care. Like it's coffee. Like they're not educated. They're okay with that. But it goes deeper, man. Like you go digging in. It's a rabbit hole too, man. Coffee. Like my wife knows very well. Like I bought her an espresso machine at home, so she wouldn't go to Starbucks every morning because that's what she did before she goes to work. Now she makes her own lattes at home, and she knows like these taste way better. Like, and I got other people at her job like asking for the coffee now too, because they realize like, yo, there's more to it.
It's a big difference.
Yeah, it's a big difference in it, man.
And I feel like this is important. This is like an important conversation to have, at least within that context, you know, because it's like, oh, look, at the end of the day, I don't really give a fuck whether people do buy shit at Starbucks or not. But personally, like my coffee shop, even though I'm not a huge like coffee drinker, like I just go to Danny's spot. It's fucking around the corner.
What up, Danny? Celeste Cafe.
Just a beautiful place, man.
Yeah.
By a great human.
He's a great human, man. Like,
so it's like, okay, so it's like, let's say I have two choices. Starbucks down the street or Danny's spot. One is a multi-billion-dollar corporation that has their hands in a large array of different exploitative, adventures. And then you have like the friend that's down the block that's doing everything they can to humanize like this capitalist facet that we must exist in. And it's just like, bro, I don't even know that if it's gonna be $1 or $2 more expensive, whatever the fuck. It's like, I would rather do that.
It's competitive pricing, man. If you walk into Danny's shop, it's basically the same price as you go to Starbucks.
So it's not gonna be like overly expensive.
Yeah, it's the Uber Eats.
That makes it more expensive.
When that's a couple dollars they get, and they take some out of his pockets. If you're local in Southgate or anywhere around here in Huntington Park, or even if you're from South Central, like, look around, man. Look around. There's coffee shops, legit coffee shops with legit people that actually want to do some good, Yeah, man, like it's that easy, but it's not, because we're all used to doing, the convenience factor, man. Driving through, and it's.
I guess it does make a difference.
I think that's what it is, just the convenience factor. Because if you're a coffee drinker, I mean, I'm gonna take a couple extra steps just to go get better coffee and shit. But other people just don't care. They just want something.
They need that quick fix, because I feel like that's what it is, right? Like, caffeine is really. Would you consider caffeine a legit like drug?
I mean, sort of, because let's say you're a coffee drinker, right? You're used to your, double espresso every morning and double espresso at lunchtime. You stop drinking, you get a little headache, you get a little caffeine withdrawal. You know what I mean? It's I wouldn't say it's a drug, but there's substances in life, man, that help us function. And like with everything else, everything should be in commodity. Like, no te pases de verga. You shouldn't go overboard. But yeah, man, like it's a tool. It might be a little bit of a drug, but
Yeah.
Addictive. It's a little addictive, just in the sense where nothing else tastes like it, and nothing else smells like it. So you're drawn to it, and repeatedly.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not trying to like situate that as like, oh, you're fucking abusing.
Man, it has antioxidants. There's so many other properties to it, but in the sense of like us comparing, stuff like that, like caffeine's a motherfucker. Like it does something great. It gives us a boost of energy, and it doesn't necessarily take anything away. Like, it doesn't kill us faster necessarily. Like something else, like other bad substances, other real drugs. But the commodity, man, you can't go overboard either. It'll give you a heart attack.
Definitely, bro. So the funny thing about my experiences with coffee is that when I was a little kid, I stayed away from it because everyone was telling me that it was gonna keep me short. It's probably a myth, right?
Probably.
Yeah. Like right now with my rational mindset, I'm like, that sounds like bullshit. But or maybe it was just las comadres that were trying to keep me the fuck away from the table.
Maybe,
like, don't drink coffee because you're gonna stay short. So I was like, dog, I do not want to be short in this life. So I didn't drink it, and I didn't start drinking coffee until I was about 21 years old. So here I am. I'm at a worker center. A worker center is these places where we work with workers who have been abused by their bosses. And we create all sorts of tactics, whether they would be by using the legal system or by using direct action tactics to get their wages back.
Right.
So we're hustling all day. You know, it's organizing work.
Yeah.
And everyone drinks coffee. Like in the morning, at 10, at 12, at 3. You know what I'm saying? Just dark, black, fucking chocolate coffee. So everyone's drinking. I'm just like, I'm kind of tired right now. Why don't you drink some coffee? So I started drinking coffee. And then, bro, by the time I was on the train going back home, I literally would get feelings of like, why do I want to like kill myself right now? So it was activating my anxiety. You know, like that was a part of my life that I didn't even know was a thing.
Yeah.
And I found that I'm not alone in that feeling of like caffeine. It was not like I wasn't blaming coffee per se, but it was fucking full of caffeine.
Yeah.
It was the caffeine that was fucking smacking me. So I figured it out. Cause one day I was like, you know what, I want to not drink this. And then I'm on the train back home and I'm like, I feel fucking great today.
Yeah.
So I stopped drinking like coffee, period, bro. Like every time people would offer it, I'd just be like, madres. And then I went to Danny's shop and I got curious again. I was like, you know what, like I want to, even though it's just a little dime, I'm going to support the local, you know, coffee place. I had a cup and I felt okay. It was the Nicaragueña.
Yeah, man. I love that coffee.
I felt good, and I obviously felt the ampness, but I didn't feel like that overrun of my anxiety like completely taking over. I also managed it. I wouldn't drink too much either.
Yeah.
But the point was like it fucking tasted great. It felt clean within me, and I think I really do. I'm a big fan of like. Don't get me wrong, bro. I like to fuck around. You know, I'm kind of a hypocrite when it comes down to like health because I like to drink. I like to drink alcohol. So, and I know it's not fucking good for me. Like it's legitimate poison. You know, but when I'm not drinking alcohol, like I like to drink hella water. You know, I like to if something's organic, I'm fucking signing myself up. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that clean coffee I think had an impact on me. Clean foods clearly have an impact on me, and I mean,
it's a lot of factors, brother. Like my wife suffered from anxiety a lot. The coffee would really activate it. So for, you know, this is only recently she started drinking it again after she had our kid. But before that, it was just an activator, like you said, and she couldn't do it. And I don't know what changed necessarily. Maybe it's just her mindset. But she double shots it now, bro. Double shot of espresso in her latte every morning, and
going to work.
And like I said, it's a tool, man. Like for me, it's giving me anxiety before too when I go too much, and it's because I'm so caught up in work. I'll drink a bunch of coffee and then like I'll be in it, so focused, boom, and then when I finally stop working, the caffeine's still kicking, and it's like, holy shit, like what do we do now? You know, and if you don't do something, man, like it can mess with you. Like everyone's different. Some people can handle like quad shots and then nothing, bro. So what? I'll go to sleep right after.
That's way too much,
you know,
bro.
But yeah, I wasn't a cafetero así duro también, so I think that's why, like in moderation, I figured out it's a great tool for me.
Yeah, like subtle amounts.
Yeah, man. I'll have my morning coffee, you know, and the rest of the day I'll be straight. You know, it'll get me through midday. By midday, I'm awake, functioning. Let's roll. You know, but the morning, definitely need that little kick.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
I found two things to help me when I'm really tired. It's gonna be that coffee. Or, even better for me in particular, I discovered like kombucha. And dude, that shit for me works wonders.
There's some loyal fans to that, man. Yeah, if you're a kombucha drinker, you're a fucking kombucha drinker, bro. Like, you love that shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I really only utilize it when I'm like fucking beat.
Yeah.
Or, I'm not gonna lie, like I cheat. Like if I'm gonna go out, cause fool, I don't know, I'm like a viejito. Like, if motherfuckers want me to go out after 10 p.m., I'm like tired.
How old are you, brother?
I'm 27.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
But I mean,
that threshold where you're like,
but I've been like that for years. Though.
oh, alright.
Ever since I was like fucking, even like when I was like in my early 20s,
Yeah.
I didn't want to party at night, bro. Cause I don't know how okay, I do know how motherfuckers be staying up a fucking 24 hours and shit.
Yeah.
But like I'm telling you, bro, like by 12, 1, like okay, so like we have circadian rhythms that put us naturally to sleep. Like this is like probably more genetic than anything, and that's probably what's going on. You know, like fucking taking me back to 10,000 BC. I was a motherfucker. Yes, exactly. I was a motherfucker waking up early to see if the dogs were alright. You know, versus like we all have friends or family that are up at fucking 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning, like just like hey, yo, bro, you alright? Like just I don't sleep at this time, and so it's like it's all just kind of like I mean, really. Those are the little details that really let you know, like, oh yeah, like we all have different roles.
Yeah, our bodies are completely different body chemistry, man. We're all different thoughts, different everything, you know. So it's kind of like that whole thing with figuring out what your career is. I mean, you know, not everyone is meant to fucking drink a 24 pack, you know, every other day. You know, like, so you know, every so often you see a dude like, yeah, man, that's what he does every day. All right, well, that's cool. It's not for me though, you know what I mean?
Right.
And we all just kind of got to figure out what our body likes, what our body doesn't, you know, and just listen, you know?
Yeah.
Don't try to be something you're not, you know, if you think, like the coffee thing, right? Like if it's giving you anxiety, hey man, maybe thin it down or maybe try tea, you know? You know, it's not for everyone, you know what I mean? But those people that love it, fucking A, man, they really love it.
For sure. You know, the thing about tea is that tea hits me harder.
Oh yeah, there's some caffeinated teas. Man.
Yeah. Then the coffee experience. I wanted to ask you something else about the hometown in Guatemala and like personally, like what does it mean to you, man, to be able to, because some people say don't mix family with business, but clearly you would probably disagree with that.
It's situation to situation. I can totally understand that. That don't mix family with business. It's just there's always going to be two sides, and I'm very blessed to have the other side of my family be a genuinely good people that just want to do good in life, to express themselves through their hard work and their cosecha, their harvest. And they've lacked someone to represent them, and I'm blessed, man, to be that person that they entrusted to represent them, you know. And it's not only them, you know, a couple other properties too, you know. I don't buy all their crop, you know, but I buy some of it at a very decent price, and I thank them for taking the leap of faith, even working with me, you know what I mean. And you know, the workers, man, like the coffee pickers, like that job is so hard. Like to the men and women that do that, like that job is so hard, man. And they don't get paid very much. And it's just, I'm telling you, looking at all this, my family todavía viviendo with lamina on the top of their house, which is like, come on, you got some of the best coffee in the world and you're still living like this. There's something wrong here. The money flow is not right. Like, you know, we're changing that. Very, very fortunate to, like I said, to have them just entrust me, man. Entrust me with representing them overseas and having people hear their story, you know, because their story needs to be heard, you know. And Fraijanes, man, Fraijanes is big, bro. Like, it's a little town, but they're huge. They're giants there, man. There's a lot of hardworking people that are just as good at doing their job as any other people, you know, and they're professionals, but they don't get looked at like a professional, you know. Like coffee pickers don't get looked like a pro, like some professional person that has a trade. Like, no, they just get looked at like a field worker, right? Nah, man, those people are genuinely professionals and deserve to get paid, right? You know what I mean? That's why, like, out here, man, like, a cup of coffee, you know, gets sold for $5 or whatever. You know, that's maybe 28 grams, like an ounce of coffee, you know, and you're making $5 off it, and you're paying, you know, your farmers, you know, fucking $1.50 tops, you know, $1.60. That's not cool, man. Like it's just not. It's not right that they're still living poor and you're over here, you know, fucking living great, like, and having a big corporation and all this and the other. Yes, you're giving jobs to people, but come on, like, at the root of it, who grows this stuff? Who does it affect on a daily basis? Like, in a sometimes very negative way. It's the farmers, it's the producers, you know. They go through hardships, you know, and yeah, man, like, it's just, the formula just didn't make sense to me, you know, like I said, and I'm just glad that little by little we've changed the market in Frejanes, by representing them outside of Guatemala, you know, and people are starting to see that, and we're able to sense maybe a couple more cents in everyone's pockets, man, but we're going in the positive direction, you know what I mean? Like, and people appreciate it, you know, to hear it. Like, I go down there and have conversations with folks, and they're like, man, like, good to finally meet you. They've heard about me, and they're like, we've seen the difference in price. We've seen the difference within a couple of years, and we thank you. We know it's not like fucking triple what it should be to make things kind of right, you know what I mean? But it's about double, man, and they appreciate it, man, because it's trickling down. It's a trickle down effect.
Right.
Top gets fed, like, everyone else there takes care of each other, man, and they feed each other too, you know. But yeah, man, a lot of pride, man. Like, I'm very fortunate, you know, to be put in this situation.
Yeah, let me just check this real quick. That's good so far. I gotta ask, man, LAFC.
Yeah.
How did you first get involved with being a fan? Like, being a big time fan.
You know, the LAFC got announced, man, like a while back, and then, like, I'd never been a fan of the MLS necessarily. Game's too slow. The talent level here wasn't much. Only a couple of teams had a couple of really good players, and the rest were just, it's mediocre, you know. I did go to one Carson Galaxy game, man, back in their inaugural season. I was a kid, and they had Jorge Campos as their goalkeeper, and I was a big fan. I was a goalkeeper playing too as a kid.
Jorge Campos was the Mexican fool, right?
Yeah. So Pops got me tickets. I saw him play once live, but I never stepped foot back in the stadium. It's just, I don't know, man, like, it just never got drawn in. Then this gets announced, and I'm like, oh, they're calling it like a proper football club name, you know, LAFC, LA
FC.
Football Club. Yeah, we're going Euro now because I watch a lot of European football out there, and so that drew me in. Me and my friends, big fans, and let's start a fucking crew, and fucking, we went from there, man, and you know, what was it? The third game was my first game in the stadium, and we went in the north end where all the flags and all the cheering goes on. And yeah, we've been in there since. I would have been, man. It hurts me that I couldn't go to the rallies, because there were rallies before all that stuff. But I was going through some pretty major knee surgery at the time, and I was just on the couch watching from the sidelines, having my leg a little stretched out. Like, I had ACL and meniscus surgery. Yeah, so it wasn't fun, man. And but finally got to go into the stadium, met some people. It was cool, and like, we met with you know, the LAFC Cycles at the watch party. It was a funny way that we met too. I made a flag from my old group. I was from another supporter group. I was usually the one painting the flags, right?
Okay.
And one of the flags I painted was Duke Duke from Cycle Realm. His face, I was like, man, you see it in Europe where, you know, like, dudes' faces are on the flags, like, paying homage, you know. To me, like, music, sports go hand in hand in LA. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna rep the Cycle Realm. You know what I mean? It's my favorite rap group. Did that. A couple dudes saw that flag, and one of them was works with Sick Jacket in the Cycle Realm. Chile. Shout out to Chile from the Cycles. And they came up, man, and just started talking and became friends. And yeah, when things didn't work out with my old supporter group, you know, they told me, you know, you basically have no choice. You're coming over here, man. And then it was, you know, blessing, man. Like, it's crazy to represent the Cycle Realm brand inside of LSC Stadium. Yeah, it feels crazy, man. Feels crazy.
That was an interesting combination.
Yeah.
Because like you said, bro, like, for me, like, I probably started listening to, like, Cycle Realm maybe 13, 12 or something. And I just remember it hitting, like not really fully understanding the lyrics, but like I remember feeling the bass and just being like, damn. You know what? It was my cousin Jorge was driving to a party. I was in the back. I was too young to even be at that party, but I was there for some reason. And I remember like they were just bumping some hard shit. And then when we got there, I was like, hey, what the fuck were you playing? You know? It's like, oh, it's like around. And then like when I got to high school, music started changing to me. Like I don't know. I guess I've always been a late bloomer, bro. Like
same here.
In every way possible, physically, mentally, every way possible. Yeah. But in high school, that's when music started really playing a bigger role in my life. And since then, it's never stopped. Like, people always tell me, like, why the fuck are you always listening to music? I'm like, because I fucking like this shit. Like, if I'm going to be fucking washing the dishes is not one of my passions, bro. But if I play some music,
it's a little easier.
It becomes enjoyable.
Doable. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so, like, to have that piece, right? And Psycho Realm hits even closer now because you know that they were like Chicanos, bro.
Yeah, they're Chicanos. They spoke about everything that's happening now in society, you know, with law enforcement and with you know, just the government's acting the way they do. I mean, they've been on it. You know, I listened to them first in you know, my freshman year in high school, '97. My boy Sonny, he was a little older. He's like 3 years older than us. Came home with a tape, and Sonny's crazy, man. Sonny was the smartest dude I know, probably. He's a rocket scientist for JPL now.
Goddamn.
But that's the dude that introduced us, the whole little block squad, to Psycho Realm and hip hop in general. Like, he used to bring home all the new CDs. You know, he used to come home on the way home from school and stop by Sam Goody or Music Exchange, this little spot in Glendale that used to have all the dope shit. And yeah, dog, like, it's just, I don't know, it drew me too. It drew me in. You know, I was already a hip hop fan, but that was like some rough, rugged, like, just,
yeah, it was,
I don't know, straight different, man. Yeah, man. Duke, his delivery, Jack and his delivery are very unique. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a trip. Like I said, combine both things in sport and music.
It's like the perfect.
Yeah, it's LA, man. It's LA.
Yes.
You know?
It's. I never really got into meet any of the other supporter groups, but I mean, obviously there's Mexicans everywhere. So I always feel like as long as there's Mexicans, it kind of feels like, for me personally, like there's some home there. But like the Cycles in particular, like there are a certain type of foods that I always knew.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not like as fucking crazy as those foods, you know, like, cause those foods are crazy. But like I've always been a hybrid of a type, you know, that like I kicked it with the emo kids, I kicked it with the screamo kids, I kicked it with the bicep kids, and I was also captain of the football team. So, you know, I by my own nature, there was always like complexities within me, while at the same time I never really belonged nowhere because I was a weirdo, but I didn't on the outside look and dress like one.
Yeah, I get you.
So it was interesting.
Yeah, growing up in the hood, man, like you get sprinkled with a little bit of that hood dust. You know, like everybody's gonna catch it. You could have it in you. Everyone has the homies that, you know, decided to go a different, more extreme route. Some of us didn't. You know what I mean? But everyone, like I say, when you real recognizes real, you don't have to be a crazy ass fucking cholo to listen to Psycho Realm or even kick it. You know, you just gotta be real with it. And that's what I figured about these cats, you know, because outside looking in, you know, you're like, oh shit, you know, like a couple of these cats, they you know, they not only look it, but, you know, are the part, and they're human beings, bro. Like anyone else, it's just a homie, like the homies back that I knew. Like, it's scary to some people, but in reality, it's just, perception is crazy, dog. Like, it could be everything or nothing. You know what I mean? Shit's dope, man. Like, I love my peoples from the Psychos, man. They've proven they're worth in more ways than one to me, and me to them, hopefully. And we've done some cool shit together. Like, they traveled to Leon
I heard about that.
Yeah, dude, I had my ticket and everything ready to go. I was supposed to be on the plane with him, and I had a business trip come up in Guatemala that I had to take off to that instead.
Damn.
So I didn't get to go, man. But it's good times, man. Good times with these dudes for sure.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's all beautiful, man, and I'm blessed. I'm grateful to have been invited to the space, you know, and for me it was because of Ro.
Yeah, Ro.
And Ro was there, kind of creating the atmosphere for the cycles to take place, where I still remember the days, bro, in the LAFC games early on, where the little park was still empty.
Yeah.
And fools, like, there was small little pockets of fools in the little 24 packs and shit. And then fast forward like a year after, and then that's when everyone had the little camps and all this shit. And then, you know, this group. And, you know, by that point, like, obviously, you know, we've been best friends for a long time. It's like, okay, well, you, Louis, are fucking going ham, and then, you know, you already know Chile, this and that, and it just kind of creates like a network, and it kind of gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But the biggest factor is like just being real.
Yeah, man, just being real and kicking it. Like, it's literally what it's about. That's what I enjoy about these cats. Like, we could just be who you be and kick it and root and do it our way. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's nothing else. There's nothing else to do. You know, like I'm telling you, like Ro and Lou were the first ones in Chile. Jube, like they were the first ones that I met. They were friendly as fuck right off top. You know, telling me, oh, so with that flag, like Jamaica, yeah, man, like, you know, paying respects to the cycle. Dudes have been on a personal level, just, you know, good people to be around.
Straight,
you know what I mean? Yeah,
straight up. And you know, this is gonna be a funny question, man, and completely out of the blue, but if you have thought about it and giving yourself an answer, you know, what is the meaning of life, man?
Fuck, dude. Meaning of life, to be honest, just to explore, man. Like, just like early on in life, you like we were talking, like you try to figure out who you are. You know, late on in life, it seems like people either regret a lot or have a surplus of joy to where they're fucking ready to go. They're like, fuck it, you know, whatever happens, happens. You know, I want to be on the good end of that. You know what I mean? And exploring and figuring out what the fuck I like, how I can advance my family's day to day. You know, and me enjoy what I like doing on a day to day too. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, just joy. Find the joy in the day to day, because, man, sometimes, you know, shit hits the fan, and then it's hard to find joy in those really dark moments, and we go sometimes, you know, a good time without having that joy. You know, so just fucking explore yourself, be honest to yourself, fucking be good to people that do good. You know what I mean? Not everyone deserves respect too. You know what I mean? I'm a big believer in that too. Like, not everybody deserves my respect. But people that do, by all means, like, I will give them that. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, just do things that make you feel good. You know?
Yeah, that's so true, bro. I don't believe in like turning another cheek.
Yeah, like
there's a moment in time.
Moments, you know, but no, it's not necessary. You know.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Don't feel like you're a fucking asshole just because, you know, you don't necessarily take, like you said, turning the other cheek. It's fine. It's human nature. You should voice your opinion and your dislikes and your beliefs, especially when someone's being, you know, inhuman, like we were talking about, or just a piece of shit. You know, like gotta be true to oneself, man. And, you know, keep it real and just do good, man.
Yeah. Hey, man, well, thank you, man. I appreciate you, you know, for having me, for coming through to the crib, man. Bringing some beautiful coffee over.
Enjoy that.
I'm really excited. Like, my mom is a huge coffee person. Like, you know, most moms. Every morning, you know what I'm saying?
Brother, pick her up. Yeah, man. Like, this year, you know, I'm gonna be selling all this stuff online. I wasn't doing it before.
Yeah. So you're finally gonna like open up shop for individuals?
Yeah, like for e-commerce. Like, I'm gonna have a couple of different blends that you won't be able to find anywhere else. There's a store that I work with out in La Cañada. You can find the bags individually there. or you could go to the coffee shops where I
But
sell
you gotta
my stuff
post
too.
a
But
mission.
it'll all be there, brother. Like it'll,
Yeah.
you know, it'll all be there.
Well, I look forward to, you know,
Gracias,
supporting
man.
your journey, man, and just expanding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Expanding in every way possible, man.
I appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
Hey,
Appreciate you for showing up,
Gracias,
man.
brother.
And I love you guys. I'll catch you guys next time. Bam!